It is Thursday, 30th day of July, 2009. Medical doctor Sherri Tenpenny is going to join us for the balance of the hour. I will continue discussing the staged flu pandemic, the global United Nations level 6, the executive orders after she leaves us in the next hour. Then it's the anniversary of the murder of the latest anthrax patsy. We'll do an hour on that and tie it into the flu and the history of staged government bioattacks like the zoological, agricultural staged attack. The British government admits that they launched the foot and mouth, but they say it was an accident. Showed up in dozens of locations in one day by accident, released from port and down. Military to work with FEMA during swine flu pandemic. PrisonPlanet.com. According to CNN report, the military will assist civilian authorities in the event of a significant swine flu outbreak. Cordoning, lockdown of cities, you name it. This is all in the level 6. We're under UN control under level 6. Here's another report, CBS News, under Executive Order 13,375, forced inoculations, forced quarantining, Army lockdowns. Why did I come out in March 5th on this TV/radio show? We now are live at PrisonPlanet.tv, by the way, simulcasting the last 3 hours of the show for those that are listening on radio. Why did I go on the air and say, in the cards, I see stage flu pandemic? Well, because I had emergency managers, media people, FBI sources, federal marshal sources. And then, of course, all this got confirmed in the next few months, saying they're building mass graves, they're going to local cemeteries in New York, Indiana, Texas, Arizona, Colorado, everywhere, getting ready for mass graves, saying there's going to be a flu outbreak in the fall. It's going to happen. The Army's involved. They're drilling with local police, practicing bringing in the flu vaccine. Quote, militia, gun owners try to attack and steal the flu vaccine when creating that Christmas toy scenario where everybody's got to have it. And the militias who are actually running from the flu vaccine, because they know what's going on, would be killing to get it. Then that was the first secret drill. Then they start fear-mongering a few deaths in the U.S. and Mexico. That's the next fake drill in April. And I said, this is a drill. But I said, it's scary because they're saying end of the world, millions could die, billions could die potentially. Baxter was tied in, live bird flu mixed in with vaccines, homeless people dying, mainstream news. I said, in the fall, they're going to launch. Then Napolitano comes out weeks later and says exactly what I foresaw. I know them. I study them. You study a football team. You watch them for 20 years. You know a coach. You know what they're going to do. I know what they're going to do. And it's like being in a car with a crazy driver you know is going to wreck. They're going 100 miles an hour. You know the road's about to make a turn over the hill. You're saying, please, please, please. Now, we don't know exactly what they're planning, but we know it's staged, we know it's bad, and we know it's perfect cover for the imploding banks taking over the states imploding, the United States going into global banking receivership to the new Bank of the World that we will pay our carbon taxes to. And we told you this 10 years ago. It's now all over the news. Everything will be okay if you let the Bank of the World carbon tax you, and you're all going to have a national ID card that taxes you off of what you eat and what you drink and what you do. LA Times, New York Times, total micromanagement, total eugenics. The official, White House science czar's own textbook for government, how to poison the water, how to sterilize us, how to destroy our industry, a post-industrial world. There's no denial of this. I think God brought this out at this time, the book Eco-Science, to give us one last warning. No more denial. It's a compendium of everything we've said in their words, admitting word for word what we reverse engineered and documented they were doing from all the pieces. Ladies and gentlemen, it is so off the charts what's happening, and this is their perfect cover for flu pandemic, flu freaking out, flu lockdowns, even if it doesn't kill a bunch of people. If less than 200 died in the U.S. and less than 2,000 worldwide have died, and those are puffed numbers themselves, what will happen if tens of thousands die during the regular flu season? Will the vaccine spread it as it has in the past? Will it kill people like the last swine flu vaccine that broke out on a military base when they gave Americans the shots, giving them neurological and other diseases in 76? That's admitted. Or will this be the cover for a massive attack? Have we already been given the binary first precursor to some? I mean, these people mean business. Dr. Sherri Tenpenny now joins us. But I'm telling you, in my gut, in my intellect, at every level of my mind and research, I have seen this coming since January, February because of the drilling, the getting ready, the gearing up. They're going to use this as their excuse for martial law. They realize the stage terror isn't working. Dr. Sherri Tenpenny is a medical doctor from Cleveland, Ohio. Her board certification in emergency medicine and osteopathic manual medicine. And her integrative medical clinic focuses on allergy elimination, including treatment of children and asthma and allergies from women's health using bioidentical hormones and breast thermography. Her clinic has restored the health of patients who have come from 38 states and 8 countries. She's recently accepted the position of executive director of the, and I think she's since then left that in Mexico, but it goes on from there. She's joins us now today. The bio is too long to go over, and the website is drtenpenny.com. Doc, I did that 5-minute preface to kind of lay the foundation of what I'm seeing. Tell us what you're seeing and where you think this is going.
You know, Alex, I listened to that, and I've listened to you before. I've read Prison Planet and a lot of other documents that I have privy to, just like what you do behind the scenes. And I have to be in agreement with you. Everything is marching down the path in the same way of just what you just laid out at the top of the hour. My question is, and I have a question for you about this, it seems so focused on the U.S. Is the same type of implementation happening in other countries? Yes.
Every NATO country and Western countries, the master planners at the UN under UNESCO have written these. The whole world. Even Iran is following the World Health Organization Level 6 guidelines. So even, quote, enemies are following UN orders. And the UN has bragged this is the first global omnibus health system. And they're saying this is good for globalism, good for the New World Order. And so, yes, they're doing the same thing worldwide.
Well,
but you're right that the U.S. seems to be the most intensive.
It does. It seems as though this is absolutely a plot and plan against the American people. And what is happening out of Washington under the guise of health, which has been happening in the vaccine world for years, is they put up these fancy little pictures with all the smiley little kids and saying we're going to vaccinate you to keep you healthy. And what I'm hoping is from the things that you're doing and I'm doing and a handful of other of us on radio and television and internet, we're going to get people awake, because the only possible way that we have to revolt and stand up against this is a grassroots awakening of people just saying, no, I am not going to do this. I'm going to band together with people in my community, and I'm not going to take this vaccine, and I'm mad as hell, and I'm not going to take this anymore.
Absolutely. Doctor, you were in Mexico when all this was happening down there at a conference. I mean, let's go over this. Let's talk about this and discuss what we really know about the virus. It's incredibly weak. They're saying it'll mutate into something deadly, but I've talked to other virologists, and they've said normally stuff mutates into something less strong or benign. You've got all these big health advisors in Europe and the United States that are on vaccine maker payroll. How are they coming out with a test vaccine in only months, not 6 months? The cloning technology of the virus. And then openly saying they're getting ready for forced inoculations, telling medical workers they've got to take it first. The Army saying they're standing by. Dr. Tenpenny, you've got the floor. Break it down.
Well, I agree with everything you've said, and the scariest part of all of this is that, it's all scary. I can't say the scariest, is that as they are manufacturing this vaccine, they don't have to produce and release a package insert of what's exactly in the vaccine until it's been approved for use. So all the scientific research that they have, there's 11 centers, NIH centers around the country that are now holding testing, human experimentation is what I call it. And these people who are rolling up their sleeves, and they claim for the sake of science and getting in compensation of that somewhere between $50 and $400 to get injected with a vaccine that has an unknown substance in it. There's 11 different sites. There are 4 different studies that are going on. They've started a study in Australia. They've started it in the U.S.
Houston, can't that be the cedar? I'm sorry to interrupt, but can't that, other vaccine trials have actually caused pandemics before, and they don't care if Gardasil's killing girls en masse. They don't care if the bird flu test in Europe.
They don't care. They don't care. And what they're going to do is they're going to watch this for 3 weeks for side effects. So if you were in the experiment today, Alex, and you got the first shot, they would follow you for 3 weeks to see whether or not you developed any sort of side effects. They would draw your blood to see whether or not you developed an antibody, and if it was looking positive, and like you low side effects and you had an antibody, the next round of experimentation is on babies. So, and they're using 2 different dosages of 2 different vaccines from 3 different companies. So how are they ever going to pool that data and crunch it? I mean, real live scientists that do real good research are probably like pulling their hair out right now of thinking, how can they possibly be doing this?
Well, it's obviously quackery, so they can say we did test, it's good to take. Just like they said the anthrax shot was good. Sorry, go ahead.
They really are not in a position of wanting to do good science, and that's the bottom line here. Because of the 2006 pandemic laws that are going into effect, the only way that you can sue and that you have any compensation whatsoever is, number one, you have to identify willful intent.